I am going to expand on something because I did some homework on it. On the Kirby Smart football program that your Philadelphia Eagles have invested a lot of equity in. There's quite a few Georgia Bulldogs on your football team that you guys have really spent a lot of high draft picks on. Howie has basically invested in the Georgia Bulldog program. Has he not? He's invested in the Bulldog program. Oh, by the way, we did something yesterday with our NFL predictions. I have my 2023 Eagle predictions. We're going to do that too. Oh, my boy from the Last Word on Sports, Tony Siracusa, will join us in hour number 3. And I'm going to talk to him about the topic that I'm going to hit on right now. So I wrote a list down of these names. In 7 years at Georgia, Kirby Smart has had 55 Georgia Bulldog players drafted. There are 32 Georgia Bulldog players currently on NFL rosters. Not all of them are with Kirby because Matthew Stafford didn't play with Kirby Smart. I think he played with Coach Rick, if I'm not mistaken. Currently on the Eagles, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. Not Goose, Siracusa. Not Goose, Quan. God rest his soul. Here are the only players in those 7 years I came up with. Roquan Smith, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb. The Walker kid looks like he's going to be decent. The Wyatt kid may be good. I don't know yet. Have the Eagles invested in a program that produces NFL stars? Ringo, too. Thank you. Ringo 2. Under Kirby, absolutely Ringo. And see, by the way, I'm not making an assessment on any of those players on the Eagles right now because, quite frankly, I don't know whether they're going to be superstars or whether they're just going to be good ball players. I don't know that yet. So I'm keeping them kind of out of the mix, like I'm keeping the guy from Jacksonville and the guy from Green Bay out of the conversation. I don't know yet. Okay? Outside of Roquan Smith, Kirby Smart has not produced a superstar NFL player in 7 years. Why am I to believe Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are going to be superstars? Or Nakobe Dean, for that matter? Or Nolan Smith? Why am I to believe that? Why are we to believe that? He's had 7 years. There's not an Aaron Donald in the NFL from Georgia. There's not an elite guy in 7 years from Georgia that he's coached. Have they invested too much and given too much faith to this program because it's a great college program? And I'll give you an example of this. How many times did Bob Knight win the national title? What was it, 3? See, 76, I think 81, and 86 against Syracuse. How many NBA All-Stars and Hall of Famers did he develop for the NBA? Outside of Isaiah Thomas, I can't think of one. Coach K, how many superstars has he developed from his time at Duke? And this guy won, I think, 5. Let's see. Kyrie Irving, kind of. Grant Hill. I don't think Elton Brand's a superstar. Christian Laettner wasn't. What superstars is Zion Williamson's not a superstar, can't stay healthy. Tatum, I think he's a superstar. So Kyrie Irving, Tatum, Grant Hill, in 40 years of basketball. 3 guys. Knight, 1 guy, in 29 years at Indiana. Again, where I'm going here is, sometimes these college programs are not what they seem to be when it comes to producing people for the NFL or NBA. Brandon Ingram, okay, that's not a superstar. Okay? Tatum's a superstar. Yes. So 3 guys in 40 years at Duke. I'm just saying here. And it was funny because Baldy yesterday goes, this Georgia program's a funny program. And this is one of the questions that I'm going to ask Tony in the last hour of the program. Maybe there's something to this. Because you know what? Every time I look at a Georgia defensive football player's statistic line, I don't see production. They make impact plays. They're phenomenal. Like I said yesterday, it's not an indictment so much on the players as it is more on the program. Are these guys great, talented players? Absolutely. You're at Georgia. You won 2 national titles. That dictates that. I completely This is a conversation here. Kirby Smart doesn't deserve. He doesn't deliver all-pro players. Why am I to believe Jalen Carter's going to be an all-pro player when he hasn't done it? And I mean Kirby Smart hasn't done it. He doesn't put transcendent players in the league. He actually never has. But we're to believe here because they went to Georgia? Baldy was onto something yesterday. He's onto something. The Georgia players are out of shape. He drafted 2 in a row. The number one issue with both those players is conditioning. Okay? They rotate a ton of guys. And when they get to the NFL, they're not prepped and ready. I've never seen a Georgia guy walk in on a football training camp and all of a sudden he's a star. Now the kid Pickens in Pittsburgh looks like he's a ball player. The kid Pickens looks like a ball player. I think they got him in the 2nd round a year ago. He looks like a ball player. How many colleges perennial put out superstars every season? Okay. But in 7 years, you haven't put out one, JM? I mean, Pittsburgh, I can go like this. Who was the wide receiver that played in Arizona for all them years? Who was the wideout that was down there? And I'll show you something with Pittsburgh here over the last 15 years. Who was the guy, Tone, that played down? Larry Fitzgerald. Darrell Revis. Aaron Donald. Curtis Martin. The kid Addison who transferred to Southern Cal. Let me put another school in there. Florida. Florida puts guys in the NFL. Alabama, they kind of put guys in the NFL. But you're telling me one guy, Nick Chubb, and Roquan Smith in 7 years. Okay, so my point though, JM, superstar ball players. Are our expectations too high for these players coming out of Georgia? Do you think the expectations are too high? Big Sills, you were telling, hey, Joe, I think he has all the characteristics. Joe, this is not me talking, Joe. This is an observation. See, sometimes people don't listen. We're having a conversation here about the Georgia program. Has anyone said that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean suck? Has anyone said that here? Where in the world did you get? I said they sucked. I said they're not prepared to play in the NFL. You once again missed it, and you once again encompassed everything that because they're not in shape and NFL ready, Sileo must think they suck. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. By the way, I think Ohio State puts guys in the league. I think Ohio State probably right now, look at all the stars they have in the league. Ohio State does a nice job. Dude, Ohio State is a wide receiving factory. It's a wide receiving factory. Didn't Jameson Williams, didn't he start his career at Ohio State and transfer to Bama? Not QBs. Agreed. I brought that up. All I'm saying to you is they're just not in shape. They're not NFL ready. They're just not NFL ready. Roquan Smith's the only defensive guy in 7 years that Kirby Smart. I wrote down a list. 55 guys have been drafted. And one guy is an all-pro dude. Is that a good number? And the Eagles have dipped in with pretty high picks. 2 years in a row, you went back-to-back with 2 Georgia Bulldog first-round picks. What's the chances of those guys being stars when Kirby hasn't really produced stars? Again, I think the kid shows me that he's got a lot of Jerome Brown in him. I do. Just saying here, the numbers don't lie here. And the behavior of the players that they drafted in consecutive years doesn't lie. Best players at small schools play 99% of the snaps, and sometimes special teams at both O and D. What's that got to do with 2 guys being out of shape when they hit the NFL? So you're saying because the lesser guys play when they're killing teams, that your star players aren't in shape? That's, once again, that's what Tony and I were talking before we went on the air. That's an indictment on the program. Your frontline guys aren't ready?